Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back. In this video, we are looking at the MLB slate for Sunday. We have a 10-game slate today, starting at 1 o'clock. So let's go ahead and get right into it. As always, appreciate it if you guys hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. You can follow me on Twitter at the DFS Process. Check out the website. Links in the description if you want to join. And let's get started. So, big Sunday slate. Should be fun. Looking at the projected lineups, usually some of these teams decide to hold out some players on Sundays just because it's an early start, especially if they played last night. But assuming that most of these lineups are correct, that's what we're gonna assume. So first couple of games on the slate, we have Alex Wood facing off against the Pirates. He's been amazing this year. He's been awesome for the surprising Giants, who are, I believe, still tops in the NL West. He is only has a 1.8 ERA, 29 strikeouts for him in 30 innings, so about a strikeout per inning. He goes deep into games. They let him throw almost 100 pitches, which is nice because Gabe Kapler isn't really used to that. But really like Alex Wood as a pay up, only 3.5 total for the Pirates. Definitely a pitcher that we can get to. Other pitchers that look somewhat appealing are Kyle Hendricks, just because he's super cheap. Makes sense as an SP2 kind of candidate. He's only $6,800, facing off against the Tigers. I know they scored some runs last night, and I know Kyle Hendricks has been pretty poor this year, but would still like to take a shot. He's still shown some sort of upside. It's been like every other game that he plays pretty well. He has a bad game, good game, bad game, good game, bad game, good game, bad game. Looks like he is off that trend continues. He should have a good game here against this strikeout heavy. Still not very powerful, although they do have some decent hitters. Tigers lineup. The Blue Jays look like a tremendous stack today against Chase Anderson. Anderson, as usual, has struggled to keep the ball in the ballpark this year, giving up home runs, especially going into this ballpark. You know, they're not playing in Toronto, they're playing in some other ballpark that was used as like the spring training ballpark. He's been on the season, he's already given up 5 home runs in just 31 innings. He's not a great strikeout pitcher. He gives up some walks as well. He's definitely the Phillies' worst starter, and he's going up against is very solid and up and down. This lineup is just super powerful, top to bottom. You have home run hitters, you have some speed. You just have it's just gonna be a tough day, I think, for Anderson. Makes sense that the Blue Jays have a 6-run total. Then I looked at some Red Sox bats against Quintana, especially the righties, especially JD Martinez against the lefty. You can look to Michael Chavis, $2,300 as a leadoff hitter, first base, second base option. He would be almost a core piece for me, it's based on the price tag. And then looking down here, we can go to Dylan Cease. Been pitching well for the White Sox. If you wanted to go, instead of probably going with like Hendricks, who might be somewhat popular, you can go with Dylan Cease. The Royals lineup is a lot better, but Cease a lot gives you a lot of strikeout upside, and they also let him go almost 100 pitches if he's pitching well. He's another pitcher that I can get to, or you can go 2 cheap pitchers if you want to pay up for some bats. And then we can look to maybe McCullers against Texas. Hopefully that the weather holds up. Don't want to have a pitcher in a weather kind of a range situation. And then the last game, don't have too much interest in the pitchers. The bats, we'll see. I think it may be some of these cheap guys, like a $2,200 outfielder, would make some sense against a lefty. I mean, against Bassett, just because he's a lefty. But the top stack is definitely the Blue Jays. Second stack is the Red Sox for me. And then I think you can mix in some of these Giants bats against Mitch Keller. Ballpark is not great, but they have been hitting the ball well this year, especially like Buster Posey. Talkman, Yastrzemski starting to turn it around if he's in the lineup today. We'll see what their lineup looks like. But going back to DraftKings here, for me, looking at the pitching options, I think I'll just go with the Alex Wood and the Kyle Hendricks kind of combination. Kind of gets some safety with Wood, a little bit of risk with Hendricks, but I think the matchup is good enough that he will have some success at only $6,800. I'll definitely take that price tag. So still leaves it with a ton to spend on the hitters. Let's go right to the Blue Jays. You can go with the $2,800 Danny Jansen if he's in the lineup. At catcher today, he's been starting to hit the ball with some home run power. He has all 3 of his home runs have come in the last 10 days, and specifically, they've all come in 3 straight days here in the 6th, 7th, and 8th. So he gives you some pop. Definitely has a catcher position that is always kind of tough to fill out unless you go with a stud. You have Vlad Guerrero at 6,000. He's expensive, but he's been amazing this year. Definitely makes some sense as a pay-up guy. And then you have Kevon Biggio, 4,500 bucks. I always like playing him just because he never gets so much ownership. He's been kind of down on the season, but he still has some good fantasy scores just because the Blue Jays score a ton of runs a lot of these games. That also gives you some speed. He makes sense as a guy that we can get to. Shortstop is going to be Bo Bichette for me at 54. He's just been so good this year. He gives you speed. He gives you home run pop. He gives you a guy that hits for a decent average. He should get like five, hopefully five at bats today if this lineup goes off as expected. And then in the outfield, Teoscar is only $4,400. Love that price tag on him. He gives you so much upside. He's been hitting the ball super well recently. 368 batting average for him. 3 bombs in his last 10 games. And especially against Anderson, I think he'll be able to crush. Anderson gives up a ton of pop. He's been always bad against righties with power. And Teoscar definitely fits that bill. And then looking at the Boston Red Sox here, Michael Chavis should be in the lineup today. He's only $2,300. Super easy to fill out your first base or second base spot. I'd probably play him at second base. Usually first base has a lot better hitters that we can try to get to. So like Chavis at second base, and then JD Martinez, another guy I'll try to prioritize. Just because he's going up against a lefty who gives up some pop. Martinez, after a down year last year, he's been one of the best hitters in baseball this season. Definitely arguing that he's been the best hitter in baseball. Mike Trout, etc. All those other guys are up there, but he's been great since opening day. He hasn't let up. Uh, so 345, 10 bombs for him at home. He's been 387 for him at home in those 24 games. Just absolutely love JD Martinez and this Boston Red Sox lineup. So that's it for DraftKings here. The Red Sox, Blue Jays top 2 stacks today. Let's take a look at FanDuel. Okay, FanDuel here, pitching wise, you're looking at Peralta as your pay up. Definitely don't really agree with that, but he's been great this year. He's been down. He had a tough game, I think last start or 2 starts ago. Definitely 2 starts ago. He was picked up right where he left off against the Cardinals, but he's been great all season. Definitely a guy that you can get to, but I would like to go to like McCullers at $8,400. Alex Wood is only $7,500, and then Hendricks is 71. So give me Alex Wood all day at that price tag against the Pirates. He's just super safe. Ballpark is great to pitch in, and the Pirates lineup is definitely not scary. And then we'll see on the Red Sox side. Probably we can get to Michael Chavis again. He's probably super inexpensive at second base. He's min price $2,000. Might even be batting leadoff as he has against some lefties. So he's a guy that you definitely want to prioritize, especially if he's batting leadoff. JD Martinez makes a lot of sense, especially if you go with Alex Wood at only 75. You'll be able to pay up for whatever bats you want. And then on the Blue Jays side, tried to get back to Bo Bichette. He's only $3,700. You can also go Marcus Semien. He kind of gets lost in the mix. Everybody's looking at Bichette, Teoscar, Vlad. That Semien sometimes gets left out of stacks, but that's definitely a mistake as he's been great all season. And then you have Kevon Biggio at only $2,400 to fill out your second base or third base spot. I mean, I would have played him at third base, but they plugged him in at utility. But definitely the Red Sox and the Blue Jays, 2 top stacks today. Hopefully they both go off. I love the entire lineup, top to bottom. We can look to, just looking at how the pricing is. You have Vlad is the most expensive guy. You also have a ton of cheap plays with Kevon Biggio, Gurriel, $2,200 for, $2,300 for Gurriel makes no sense. On the Philly side, you can go with Gene Segura at $2,100 against a lefty, and then where's Teoscar? He's only 3K, so definitely loading up on the Blue Jays today. So that's it for the video. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it. Best of luck tonight, and I'll see you all next time.